If you love designing websites with Divi 5, you're going to love this Divi 5 framework. It is going to allow you to design your website super fast, and in fact, they're going to be so consistent that it's unbelievable. Let's dive in and let me show you a typical workflow and also the updates that you need to be looking out for. So first of all, I want to show you what we're able to do recently, and that is to map all these variables with the latest feature that was released a few days ago by Elegant Themes, which is your variables. So now SiteKrafter has variables and they're working really, really well. You can see here, they're all mapped, and every time you want to change anything in your design, all you need to do is to come to this place and then just change your color here, and the color updates across the whole website. If you want to change your accent color, you just come over here, change it here, and it just applies across the whole website. Now, this is what I mean by scalability and ease of use. Okay, so let's head over here and let me show you your typical workflow and how you would do things. So over here, I have a bunch of text. So this text here is a normal paragraph, which I've just named heading 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So in a normal situation, what you would do is you would click here, go to the builder itself, highlight the text, and then you want to come over here and set it to perhaps say heading 1. Okay, great. It looks like heading 1. In fact, let's set this to heading 2 or even heading 3. Okay, let's set it at heading 2. So this is how you would set it. But with this latest feature now, it allows variables. So if you wanted fluid typography, what you would do is you would head over to a website that will calculate your size for you, like Utopia. And this is where you would define your width, you define your maximum width here, your scale, and we're using major third here. It works really well. Your minimum font size and your maximum font size. So with these settings here, if you scroll all the way down, it's going to give you all your variables for your clamp values. So let's say you want to set this to say heading 1. You would copy the clamp value here like that. You would head over to your website. You go to Divi, theme options, you go to custom CSS, and then you enter your variable here. So that's where you'd paste it. So once it is pasted here, you would save changes. And now for you to have your responsive fluid text, you would come over here, click on this gear icon, go into design, and then you'd go into heading text, and making sure this is set to heading 2. You'd now come over here to heading 2 text size, and then you'll just make sure you go to clamp, and then this is where you would paste your values like that. And this now is fluid and responsive. But the problem with this now is you would need to do this every time you get to a heading, or it could be heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. So you're constantly going into the builder, adding all these values. Now this can be cumbersome. So what SiteKrafter does now is you only need to enter one class and your complete website is fully responsive. Let me show you how you do that. So you'd come over here and click on Advanced, CSS ID and Classes, and then all you have to do is to click on, I'll set this to SK, and this is now fully responsive across the whole website just by adding this class right here. So I'm going to hit save, and we're going to do a quick preview here so you can see that this is truly responsive. All right, so let's go to our inspector here like that. And now I'm just going to drag this side here like that, and notice the font here as it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. There's no jumps. It is maintaining its size even until you get to a screen which is about 356, which is a mobile screen. Now look at that text. It looks beautiful and everything is consistent. Now, of course, this text here is also following that, but like I said, you would need to go in, and it's going to be a big job to go in and really customize and add these manually. Anyway, let's move on to the next thing. And you may be thinking that perhaps maybe this is the only feature right here, but there's also custom headings, because as you're designing your website, you're also going to need custom headings, and this is also working with the variables. So let's go ahead and try and create this. So I'm going to go and choose a single row, and we're just going to add a text module here like that, and we're going to go ahead and select it. Next, we're going to drag this all the way to the top here, because this is where we're going to need to do our work in. So I'm going to just get rid of some of this text here, and I'm going to cut it off. So again, using our classes, I'm going to come over here to Advanced CSS ID and Classes, and this time I'm going to now enter heading dash large. Do you see that? Just by entering heading dash large, this text has gone large. Now I can even go as far as extra large. Okay, so we also have another class which is tied to our variables, and this one here is for our font weight. So I'm going to say font dash, let's go with 700. Do you see that? Now my font is gone a bit bolder, but I can go as far as say 900 if I need to. But of course that doesn't look great, but we're just going to leave it at 700. So with this now, you're probably thinking, well, so what can we really do with this? Is this really exciting? Well, it is exciting because we now have gone past the heading sizes, and now we have our custom headings. Now, to add to this, we also have our custom text as well. So here we have our normal body font, but we can also have a custom text. So let me show you that. Again, I'm going to come over here, go into my text module here. And for my custom text now, I would come over here to Advanced again, like what I did before. And I'm going to go to CSS ID and Classes. And then I'm just going to say text. And let's go with text large. Okay, I think that works. So now I have custom text here, and if I was building a landing page, I have custom text here that I can play around with. Okay, so let's stylize this a little bit. So we want this centered, so you can either just go in here and say center to center it, and we can also do the same with the top one here. We can just go into our CSS ID and Classes, and then we can say center, just like that. Now I can see here that my text is a bit too much, so I would like to remove some of this text so this looks like a proper heading. All right, great. So at this stage now, you're probably thinking, well, Mac, well, the spacing here doesn't look great. Well, this is intentional that all our modules here, all our text modules are set up by default with no spaces, and that is because we need to add our text of our spacing, which is fully responsive. And this text, this spacing is definitely mathematically calculated, so you're going to have consistency throughout. So for our spacing here, I'm just going to select this, come over here to Advanced, CSS ID and Classes, and for our spacing here, I'm just going to say, what should we do here? Okay, margin top, MT, dash, we can go large, okay, or we can go medium, like that, and all this is properly calculated. So this margin top medium is fully responsive. It has a clamp value, which means as the screen gets smaller, the spacing there gets smaller depending on the device you're working on. So this is really, really amazing stuff. Okay, so let's add one more item here. So let's say this could be a button like that. And then I'm just going to add it so it comes all the way to the left here. So let's bring it to the center by just coming in here and aligning things. So you may be thinking, well, is this the only way we're able to work? Well, absolutely not. If you want, you can go into the builder and make your custom spacing and so on. So for example, you would come over here, and for our margin, we have our margin top. So you would go in, add your clamp, okay? And again, you would need to go to a tool like Utopia, calculate your clamp, and then you would come back and enter it manually here. But of course, we don't want to do that because everything is done for us. So what we need to do now is we go into our button here, and this time we are going to say MT for margin top, and this is going to be, let's say, medium. Look at that. I can even go small. Now, whatever value you use here, I mean, there's no right and wrong. It's just going to be depending on how you want it. So everything is properly calculated. So across the whole website, you're always going to have your margin top, medium, small, large, extra large, and so on. Okay, so now that we have this, the test now is to see if this is fully responsive. Let's go ahead and check that out. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come over here and we're going to refresh this page. And now we have all our information. So if I start now making it smaller, look at that. My text is getting smaller depending on the device, and my spacing there is adjusting as well. And this looks really, really nice. You see that? So this is fluid responsive design. You don't need to touch any settings to make your text fully responsive. You only need to enter it once and everything is all set for you. All right, so at this stage, you're probably thinking, well, what else can we do here? Well, there's quite a lot of things that we can do. Let me just add a bunch of text here so I can show you. So let's say you want to add a notice on your website. Well, it is very, very simple. So let's just title this notice like that. And perhaps we're going to make it bold so that it just stands out as a notice. So you'd highlight it like that, make it bold. Now, what you need to do is to come over here, ID and classes. And all we just need to do here is to type notice, and our notice has been added. Look at that. So now this can be dragged to the top of the site like that. We can center it by coming over here. We can go to sizing and center it like that. And I can see here that the spacing is too close. I can go back to this item here, go to advanced, and then again, I'm going to say empty for margin top dash. And for this time, I'm going to say large. Okay, but of course I can go with extra large if I want to, so that it really separates from everything else. So as you can see, I mean, I'm able to do this super fast without going into the builder, setting our sizes and so on. So this is just to prove to you that all the variables are actually working with SiteKrafter, which is brilliant. Okay, so one more thing that I want to do here is to show you that it's not just the notice, it's all our notices. So if I come here again, so I can go in and say, okay, maybe this is a warning. Okay, look at that. And this could also be, let's say, success. And now you can see the colors are changing. Okay. Now, if you want to increase the size and make it responsive, there we go. Now we have our fully responsive text for our body font. Okay. So that is looking great. Let me just save this quickly. Now, when we move on, there are also other things here that are super exciting, and that is our background colors. So with our background colors, again, all these are mapped with our variables. So all you need to do, instead of coming over here to the background and going into global and choosing your colors over here, you don't need to do that. All you need to do is to head over here to advanced, and then you can just say BG gray 100. Now the scale goes up to 900. So if I say 900 here, it just it goes really super gray. Okay, so it goes down to 800 and then 700 and then 600, 500. So you are now not specifically going in and trying to find each color as you're designing. These colors here are going to be consistent throughout the whole website. So it is really, really exciting. All right, so let's go down to about 100. Okay, great. So now that we've done our responsive text, let's try something else here. So when we design our sites, you know, our blurbs and so on, there's a few customizations that we may need to do. So let me show you how our padding works. I've spoken about the margins. Now let's talk about the padding. So I'm going to add this blurb right here, and just to make sure that I have space to go in and add my design, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say P for padding. And for my padding here, I'm going to go for a medium. Okay. Now I know you haven't seen anything because I mean, it's a transparent background. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say BG dash, And I'm going to now enter, say, gray. So we're going to go with gray 300 so we can see BG gray. Okay, I missed a space here. Okay, so we have BG gray 300 here, and we have our padding to set to medium. So let's set this to, let's say, large. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is to duplicate this a few times. So maybe 4 times. So I would like to lay out these in a grid. And again, this feature here is also found in SiteKrafter. So I'm going to select my row settings here. I'm going to come over here to my column and then go to my advanced settings, CSS class. And I'm just going to say grid. Okay. And then I'm going to say grid dash auto. Now, do you see that? Just by saying grid auto, I now have all my items here in a grid. So every time I add another one, it just goes in a proper grid, and this looks really, really nice. I don't need to use my columns. Now, I know this feature is going to be coming in Divi, but again, by doing it the way I've done here with grid auto, you don't have to spend so much time going into each and every layout, setting your grid and rebuilding it from scratch, because everything is done for you. Okay, so this is how SiteKrafter is going to save you a lot of time. So let's further customize this design here. So let's say for this here, we need to add some rounded corners. Well, again, these follow a scale. So if I select this, I can go to design here. I can go to advanced, CSS ID and classes, and then I'm going to say R for radius, and I'm going to set this to, let's say, large. Now look at that. My radius has been added. I can even go to extra large like that, or I can even go to medium. And all these are calculated, and the design system here is super pixel perfect. Okay. So as you can see here, I was able to go in and design this. So let's say I don't want to use this background gray. Okay. Let's get rid of that. And this time, perhaps you want to use your primary color. So we're going to say BG, okay, for our background. And for our primary color, we're just going to type in primary. And now my primary color has been added. Just like that. So when I change my primary color over here, this is now going to update across the whole website wherever I've used my primary color. So even if your client comes to you and says, hey, you know what, we're doing a rebrand, we want to change how things work, and we have a new font, we have a new color palette, you can just come here, add your color palette in here, add your primary color, your dark, primary dark, primary light, primary BG, update all that, update your accent colors. Pretty much you're good to go, and this is going to update across the whole website. So this is super powerful, and as you can see, I'm sure you can agree with me that this is a time saver. So we have grid, we have flex, we have so many settings that we can play around with here. Now, here we have shadows. I mean, this video is going to be too long, but I mean, if I go through every single feature, but look at this. These are all our shadows, and they all are consistent across the whole website, and these are designed using a scale, which means everything is super calculated, and it's using clamp values as well. When it comes to sections, your sections, again, if you select, say, for example, this section here, or I can come over here to advanced, and I can actually add section dash large. Do you see that? Now we have a responsive padding around our sections. So this is really, really powerful. I mean, if you design using this, you're going to save a lot of time. Right now, you can see my background here is on gray 50. At any point, you can go in and say gray, let's say 800. And my background now has been updated. So every single item here can be pretty much designed without us spending so much time in the builder making all these settings one by one. You can imagine if I was to come over here, go into my background color, add my background color from here, and move on to another section, add my background color there, this will take me forever. But if I now get rid of that, and let's say for my background color, I need to use, let's say for example, my primary color, I can just add my primary color, or I can add all my neutral colors, making it very, very easy to maintain and update. Okay, so now that we have this, there is also something else which is very, very important, which comes in SiteKrafter, because this is not just about the builder itself, it's also heading towards making this very accessible as well. So I'm going to save this and we're going to do a quick preview. And let's get out of this now. Okay, so we have keyboard navigation. Now, this is also part of a requirement when it comes to accessibility. So you need to be able to navigate your website using your keyboard alone without the mouse. So if I type tab here and you take a look at the top line there, you're going to notice that something is moving. Right now, I'm on the logo. So I can go to home, I can go to style. Now, if I hit enter, this will take me to the style guide, and I can pretty much go in now. Now I'm at the button. You can see my button there has a border around it. Now I can use my up and down arrows to navigate my site. You can see that. If I need to go back to the top, I can just hit back, and this I'm now on top there on style guide. I'm now on the home. I'm now on the logo. And if I hit tab, again, this will take me through the whole website. Okay, so this is your tab navigation. Very, very important. And this is pre-built in SiteKrafter. Next, and this feature here is really, really awesome. Now, it's not complete yet. And remember, this is a sneak peek, but in a few days, this should be done. We have dark mode. So if I come to the bottom of the screen here and click this icon, notice that our website is gone into dark mode. Look at that. Now, as you can see, there's certain things that are not working, and that is my text here is supposed to remain black so that it is easier to read in the dark mode. I mean, this has converted very well. I mean, that's cool, but there's a few things. My blurb here, this text here needs to change to make this really work well. So that is something I'm working on at the moment. So it's going to be ready very, very soon. So there's a ton of updates, and this is surely going to enable you to design websites that are easy to maintain, websites that are very fun to work with. And as you're designing, you're going to know that whatever value or whatever item you're putting on the screen is properly calculated, and you don't have to spend time calculating anything. So let's say you're a design agency. If you purchase SiteKrafter, you can use this as a child theme on each and every website you design, and it's going to have all these pre-built features on every single website you're going to be designing. So this is going to be a time saver, and I'm sure you can agree with me. Compare this to designing every website from scratch, entering all your entering all your units manually. That's going to take you ages, and this is going to cut down the time you're going to design your website by a lot. Anyway, the link to purchase SiteKrafter is in the video description below. Now, right now it is on a huge discount, and it's a lifetime deal. You purchase this once, you're going to have access to SiteKrafter pretty much, forever. And this will include all the future updates to SiteKrafter. And trust me, there's going to be a lot of updates to really make this awesome. Anyway, I'll leave a link to SiteKrafter in the video description below. Go ahead, check it out, purchase it while it is on the lifetime deal, because once I add all the features that I need to, and it is fully solid and it's working fine, of which, by the way, we are almost there. We are 80% there, just 20% to go. This pricing is going to change to a yearly subscription. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one. Let me know what you think in the comments box below, and yeah, let's discuss in the comments. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one. Take care.